Welcome to Marketing Brew Weekly, where we dissect the trends and strategies that are surprising and delighting the marketing industry. With the record snowfall, Jen and I is stuck in Utah, so we have a special guest for today's episode. I'm Kelsey Sutton, editor of Marketing Brew.
I'm Katie Hicks, senior reporter.
And I'm Alyssa Meyers, senior reporter.
Thanks so much for joining us, Alyssa.
Welcome, Alyssa.
Thanks, guys. Woo. Happy to be here.
We are a week and a half out from the Super Bowl, which means it is prime time for Super Bowl content. We are seeing teaser releases. We are seeing full commercials. We are seeing embargoed announcements galore in our inboxes. And that got us thinking, why do some brands roll out their ads in advance? Why do others tease it out? And why do still others wait until the big game for the big reveal? And what other strategies help Super Bowl campaigns really stick the landing? So let's get into it. Let's go.
All right, did you guys watch the conference championship games?
I know Alyssa did.
I did. Go Pats. Don't kill me.
I tuned in half-heartedly, partially on my phone, but I did see that there were quite a few Super Bowl campaign trailers and teasers happening during the lead-up game to the Super Bowl. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Definitely super popular. I think in the past few years, it's really been heating up that brands will drop teasers, drop their spots early, probably even for a decade or so. I feel like I talked to the ad meter editor about this a couple of years ago. He said it's something that he was clocking for about that long and that it really started to heat up. I think it was 2020 when Planters did the whole death of Mr. Peanut.
Never
That
forget.
was,
Yeah.
so
I did
produced,
forget, actually.
yeah.
But honestly, I mean, the fact that we still kind of remember that happened, I feel like maybe indicates the power of the teaser, this slow drip, 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 drip until it all is revealed on game night. But I kind of feel like, I was thinking some of the things that I've seen, I'm clocking them immediately. I'm like, okay, Duolingo had sort of a teaser during the AFC NFC championship game. And it's sort of tied to the halftime performance, encouraging people to learn Spanish ahead of Bad Bunny's performance. But Instacart has one with Ben Stiller and Benson Boone. But then we're also seeing some brands just fully put their commercials out. They're like, getting ahead of it. They're like, watch it now before it's the most crowded sort of thing. So I kind of want to dig into the teaser approach. What, Alyssa and Katie, what do you hear from brands when you're talking to them about why do it? Why do this kind of breadcrumb approach leading up to the big game? What's the benefit?
I think some are really split on the opinions about it. I was just talking to the CEO of the agency that did Fanatics Super Bowl spot this year. It's their first time doing a Super Bowl ad because their sports book is pretty new. He was like, going in, I was against it. I think a lot of people will say the tradition, the cinema, you get the surprise factor if you just drop it on game day, and that makes an impact. But I think a lot of it is about your specific goals too. Like he was telling me that they're really big on earned media this year. They want coverage. They want conversation. They're working with Kendall Jenner. It's like a social forward concept. So they decided, it doesn't make sense not to do this. If we want buzz, conversation, social chatter, earned media, we need a couple weeks run up to sort of maximize that as opposed to just putting it out one day only.
Yeah, if you're putting that much money into like your celeb spokesperson and your placement and everything else, you want to milk it for all it's worth, I think. And I feel like that's what encourages people to do that. But I'm also curious, just like, do you guys feel like it ruins the element of surprise at all? I mean, like, I don't know how many Benson Boone fanatics there are out there who are like, oh my God, I would have loved to be surprised on game day. But like, what are the risks of doing that and kind of like telling people what to expect?
Yeah, I mean, I think about the way that I watch the Super Bowl as a consumer, and I kind of think if I've already seen the ad, it's sort of, that's a perfect moment for me to leave and go like,
go get a snack,
or you know what I mean? I'm kind of like, oh, I've been there, done that. But maybe for a brand, that's okay because they don't need me to watch it game day. If I've already seen it on social, I've already written about it for work or read an article about it. It's kind of like, okay, that's done. Like the effect has kind of happened. But I think about some of the surprises that we've had the last couple of years that really stood out. I mean, Coinbase's QR code just bouncing around the screen like a screensaver, that performed incredibly well. And I think it was partially because nobody knew what it was. And it was kind of like, wait, what's this? I feel like the same way. You remember when Tubi had their spot where it was
like you changed the channel, but you didn't actually.
Right.
Yes.
It looked like.
And everyone lost their minds. Like, didn't they say that like a bunch of people got like, they started freaking out?
Yeah. People were like, they were like,
scary.
don't touch the remote.
People are getting mad.
I can't imagine if that happened in the house that I watched the Super Bowl.
Right. Diving for the remote. Yeah. But right. Like there is a value in that sort of moment, particularly when you actually do surprise people. But I wonder with a more traditional ad creative, it's sort of like that's not enough to actually stand out. So it's sort of like if we get ahead of it or if we get people excited to actually watch it on game day with the drip, 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 then that's the moment where everybody looks around and goes, wait. Oh my gosh, I think this is going to be the ad that we've been teased about, oh my gosh, like everyone be quiet. Like, let's watch it.
I think that's such a fine line between how much you do. I think there are a couple brands this year, like Liquid IV is one where they've put out some content, but it's been very subtle. It's not like a cut of the actual ad. It's something entirely different. They still don't want you to know what the actual ad concept is, but you know that they're doing a Super Bowl spot and they're releasing some stuff. It's not a cut, it's like very subtle. I think if you do more than that too, you also run the risk of overhyping it, like if you do show exactly the plot or who the celebrities are, do people get really excited because, maybe they really love Ben Stiller? High expectations, and then you run the risk of letting them down. So yeah, fine line, I think.
To your point about like reaching people who maybe have seen it or haven't seen it, I'm curious about like the media buying aspect of it. And like if you're doing a regional buy or something like that, maybe it's a way to like get your ad in front of other people who might not see it during the game. Is that a strategy or something along those lines?
Yeah, the regional buy is interesting because I think a lot of brands do that because they don't have even like maybe they don't even sell in every DMA. They are not in every state. They don't have target audience everywhere. So yeah, maybe like some of their brand messaging, usually brand awareness is really big for a lot of people that do Super Bowl ads. So yeah, maybe they do some social if they're doing regional to sort of like up the awareness, but they know it's not worth it to spend the money on a national ad if they're not going to drive sales in every single state or region. And the price difference is really significant.
Yeah, well, and I think something that's so interesting is like the Super Bowl costs this year, it's around $8 million for 30 seconds. And that's just the 30 seconds. Like you have to create the ad.
Placement, yeah.
And then again, are you bringing in talent? What is that cost? If you're doing the teaser stuff, if you're doing the social buy, like that $8 million becomes engulfed like that. It becomes a fraction of what the actual cost is. And so I think that something we've seen is there are some brands that go, you know what, we'll do the teaser, we'll do the drip, 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 and then we'll release the ad so everyone can watch it, and only some people are going to see it during the broadcast because we can actually afford to do that.
Mm-hmm. And no one's going to know. That's the thing too, that I think a lot of media buyers and people in the space will say is like, if you're just sitting at home and you're someone who's watching the game, you're not in the ad industry, you're not going to be like, this is a regional spot, not national. You maybe, you don't get the accolades, you don't get a chance to be on the ad meter. But yeah, you're going to save so much money. Like you said, Kelsey, the price tag for a national spot is humongous. I talked to a buyer last year who I think he said in some smaller cities it was $50K for 30 seconds. Some of the bigger markets maybe a little over 1 million, 1.4 for 30 seconds, but you're saving so much money. If you're a brand that like you're not even in stores or grocery stores in every state, like you're throwing money out the window to do a national spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to talk about like the social aspect of it because I feel like when I think about like brands that have done a really good teaser in recent years, it's the Michael CeraVe campaign because that one just used influencers posting about like, hey, Michael Cera, I saw him in like CVS walking around with a bag of lotion. What's going on? And like, then it was revealed at the Super Bowl that was part of the campaign. And I feel like that was a perfect example of like how to build buzz in a way that felt very organic. I think a lot of people were like confused. And also, I don't know, just it was a good way of like engaging creators and making it very buzzy online, but not too overt.
Yeah, I think, well, we're seeing that this year with Raisin Bran, William Shatner was seen photographed
eating a bowl of Raisin Bran in the front seat of his car.
And I think there's something so funny about this time. I mean, first of all, I love the fake paparazzi thing because it just so plays into internet culture and like very memeable, you know what I mean? Like there's something very to it, but I also think there is the cynic in me that I'm like, if I see literally anything on the internet after mid-January until the Super Bowl, I'm like, don't trust it. It's a Super Bowl ad.
Especially if you see the brand. If it's like William Shatner's eating Raisin Bran, you're like,
hang on.
Not just like he's eating cereal and being weird. It's like he's specifically eating Raisin Bran.
I think people are getting so much smarter about that. And like, I wonder how many more years this sort of trend of the not the teaser, but the like surprise, this is a Super Bowl ad. I think even last year was at Hellman's and When Harry Met Sally, I think when like Meg Ryan first posted something about it, people were commenting like, if this is a Super Bowl ad, I swear to God, you know.
Yeah,
like,
I'm going to be so mad.
Everyone is like you, Kelsey, and being like clocking it and being suspicious if they're seeing content like that in January, February.
We're kind of seeing that right now too with Guy Fieri posted himself as like a normal dad with like a brown comb over, like looking like a normal guy, and then followed it up with another post being like, me times Bosch, like the appliance company. So people were definitely like, hey, is this Super Bowl related? And then it was revealed shortly after, like, yes. We didn't see the actual ad, but we got a little teaser on social.
Mm-hmm. And again, I think some of it's like somebody goes, oh my gosh, I want to see what happens. Like, is he going to use a product and then like his frosted tips are going to fly back? You know, I don't know. Who knows? But, and so there is this level of excitement, but I also think that there's a level of fatigue from, you know, audiences are really smart. And I think if you say, oh my gosh, we're getting the gang back together for something really special, somebody's like, is this actually special? Or is this, you know, is this an ad? Mm-hmm. And like, let me temper my expectations.
Yeah. I mean, I know the Michael Cera campaign got like 15 billion impressions leading up to the Super Bowl. I'm curious, you know, now that people are getting a little bit more savvy and maybe they have learned from that campaign to expect something similar, if other brands will see similar engagement or people will kind of, you know, just swipe on by.
Mm-hmm, yeah. I want to talk about something which is sort of, you know, instead of, so the $8 million price tag is one reason why some people go, ooh, we got to do something else. And why also some people go, okay, I'm going to spend way more to make that $8 million worth it. But we see some brands that skip the big game broadcast, but they do a lot of stuff experientially. And I kind of want to talk about what that looks like, what we've seen in recent years, and kind of what the opportunities are for brands that go, okay, we'll do something on the ground, or we'll do something, you know, we'll probably get it very, you know, we'll document it so we can share it on social or in other campaigns. But I feel like there's something kind of interesting there too, just engaging with fans on the ground. Katie, I know we've heard a lot about community growing and like the importance of IRL events, particularly like on the social side. But I feel like that's definitely a trend that we're seeing more of.
Yeah, I think it's a way to engage people in real life. I mean, you can do sampling, you can get your product in people's hands, you can create just like goodwill among your base and say like, hey, look, we're hosting this event. Like, don't you love us? I think like Uber's doing a concert, FanDuel, Bud Light, EA Sports, Toyota, Shaq is hosting a Funhouse Carnival. This is all happening in
Sign me up for that.
Yeah,
Classic, great. Honestly.
This is all happening like in San Francisco, which is where the game's being hosted, and I feel like it's a way to engage the people who probably either can't afford or couldn't get into the game itself, and just make sure that like people feel like they're a part of the experience, which again creates some goodwill, makes people happy to be a part of the experience on behalf of that brand.
I feel like it has so much to do with the flavor of whatever city is hosting too. Like maybe with this year it being in San Francisco, we see a lot of the music scene or something like that. Or last year in NOLA, I feel like there was so much local like food and beverage partnerships and things like that. And Vegas was 2 years ago, right? Like everyone was trying to do something with the Sphere. It's very customizable, and I think it kind of makes it unique every year. It gives something, you know, tied to the year, tied to the place. It's not just any Super Bowl, you know, it's in XYZ location. And you know that so far in advance, brands can plan for that in a way that they can't always plan for, you know, you don't know who's going to be playing. So it gives you some kind of like regional tie, I think.
Yeah.
You know, Levi's is also hosting a big event, which makes sense because they own Levi's Stadium, or they're the name on the stadium. So yeah, I feel like it's a way for them to like get involved with that fact and not have to like buy an ad, which Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they did.
Levi's?
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I think that's something we've seen a lot of in sports marketing is just leaning into the, stadium experience or the courtside experience. I wonder, Alyssa, like what you've heard from some of the brands that you've talked to about kind of the value of showing up there. Because obviously the Super Bowl is like the Super Bowl of that event,
I mean, first of all, if you're a Levi's or if you're someone who has the actual stadium naming rights, then like, yeah, that's super expensive in and of itself. And you're going to want to leverage that and use that as much as possible. And I think for, a lot of sports sponsors, obviously the in-person experience, hospitality, hosting clients, hosting, potential consumers, potential employees. Like if you have any sort of stake in a team, in a league, in a sporting event, you're going to want to get people there in person. Like that is such a big emotional draw of a sports sponsorship. It's not just the media buy, logo slapping. Like people are like, we want to avoid that at all costs. So yeah, it's a little bit more like personal and emotional, and it's not surprising. I think that a lot of brands want to take advantage of that on a stage like the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I think like when I cover this space too, it's always about like getting offline because it's so saturated. Like there's just so much content. I'm sure a lot of these brands are hosting in the hopes of like generating UGC and getting people to post about it, but it's also just a way to connect with people in a way that feels more tangible than just like being among the many brands that are posting about the Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. But I also feel like there's like nothing like having the one ad that everybody is talking about like after the game. And I feel like, so there's kind of nothing like that good creative ultimately, but also the risk of falling on your face is also so, right.
Yeah,
like you don't want to be
talked about for better or worse.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Some of the endemics I feel like have such an unfair advantage. Like the beer brands, like they know what works. They've been doing it for decades. They're going to stick to the playbook almost every year, and they're probably going to do well. They know they're going to drive sales. They're going to be high on the ad meter. They're going to get awards. Like people like it. I feel like it's the newer brands, like some of the first timers, or if it's just your second or third year, those are the ones that either like maybe they play it really safe or they do something totally crazy and maybe they really stand out. Maybe people hate it. Some of them might say, even if they hate it, at least they're talking about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Was it 2 years ago that Poppy did their vending machine campaign? They had an ad last year, I know, with Alex Earl. So they're really leaning into like the social aspect in that regard. But then they also a couple years ago had like given out vending machines to a bunch of influencers, and that got them some backlash. People were saying they were giving free things to rich people. Olipop joined in and kind of like added fuel to the flame and was saying like, yeah, the vending machines cost like $60,000, even though Poppy had told us that was an inflated price. But yeah, it just turned into this moment that just kind of like snowballed. And ultimately, like, I think that ended up being the story more than Poppy's other activations, what they were doing around the Super Bowl.
Right. It's like hard to remember the creative itself. I want to talk about the beer brands, and I want to talk about the way that we've seen, I feel like, a million teasers so far for some of the beer brands, but also Budweiser just fully put their ad out. So if you can just watch that now if you want.
If you're Budweiser, why not? People know you're going to do the Clydesdales every year. Like there's no point, I feel like, for them in even trying to tease it or make it a surprise. And they are probably the most endemic in the Super Bowl. They own that space, even though AB InBev doesn't have exclusivity anymore. Like the years long, that I think is still probably paying off. So it feels like they shouldn't even bother. People know what to expect, and they're probably going to like it, honestly.
They're like, here, take it.
Yeah.
This is what you're getting.
You're going to like it.
I mean, baby animals, look, nobody is upset about that. I want to talk about like the sort of social opportunities this year too. So I feel like something we hear about all the time is these brands will set up like a war room so that whether or not they have an ad, or maybe they're doing something before the game or something on the ground, like, or a regional buy, literally no matter the approach, there is kind of the social team is kind of at the ready to react to literally anything to be part of the conversation. I feel like this is kind of the new table stakes for brands. Like if you're not active on social, commenting, being a part of that conversation, like it's like, what are you even doing? I want to dig into that a little bit and hear what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean, I think the War Room, I feel like, was that Liquid IV that said that they were doing that?
Yeah, their CMO literally described it like a war room. They're doing so much stuff, I think, on game day, on social. And so, yeah, they're like having people ready to reply. It's not, I don't know if they're going to be posting new content or anything, but yeah, they were talking about how that's tough too, because you have to, if you're not a fan, like you have to do some research. You have to know who's playing, what the tone of the fandom is. Like if you want to engage with the comments, it's probably going to be about the game, about the play. So I think that brings a whole other challenge to it, is like you can't just know about your brand. If you want to talk to fans who are watching the Super Bowl and they're fans of one of those teams, you have to speak their language, and that language is different for every fandom.
Yeah, it's been interesting watching brands like experiment with it too. I know like Liquid Death last year posted like a video of somebody watching the ad in real time, like with their feet up on the couch to TikTok, and then posted just like a very like clear normal video of it on Instagram, because they were like, oh, like on TikTok it needs to look more organic and like look like we're in the moment watching the ad with you guys. And I think that's always fun, is just see like how brands like find success on different platforms and like what works where and what people are like really responding to across the different social channels.
Right. Because again, we also know that young audiences are very likely to be on their phones, you know, for a way more part, you know, a much longer part of the game than maybe an older viewer. So it's like, okay, maybe you miss the ad during the broadcast, but you watch it on TikTok immediately in like a different form. I feel like there's something kind of interesting to part of this like social response, and it's making me think about, you know, this year's teams. I saw a Dunkin' actually posted something. They very clearly are also going to be rooting for the Pats, like you, Alyssa. They posted the number of Dunkins in Massachusetts, and then the number of Dunkins in Washington State, which is 0. And they were kind of like, here, we know who we're rooting for. And I feel like that's kind of a fun, but also a little bit of a tricky balance to strike for a brand, because like you not only have to sound like you're understand the game, but you also, are you making somebody go, oh my gosh, I would never root for the Pats. Like, what is Dunkin' doing? I'm so pissed.
Dunkin' can never open up a location in Washington now.
Right.
They've stuck their claim.
I mean, they own the Northeast.
And Starbucks owns Washington. Like, I think that's such a unique dynamic going on here that probably is not going to be that replicable. Dunkin's so interesting because they have done traditional Super Bowl ads in years past. I don't think they've said yet if they're doing.
Yeah, where's Ben
Affleck?
Affleck? Is he coming back?
I know. We just don't know. Like, they have him waiting in the wings, probably at all times. I don't know what his contract with them is like.
Maybe he's working with Starbucks. I don't know.
Or it's Ben Stiller, Benson Boone, and Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck with Starbucks would be like, there would be riots in the street.
Yeah.
Couldn't happen. But no, that's an interesting dynamic between, like the Starbucks and the Dunkin'. And it's smart, of Dunkin' to post that because, that's so obvious. Like, people know they're associated with New England and Mass. And like you guys were saying, like, it's an easy win. They're probably not going to lose any consumers by saying, we're going to root for the Pats. But maybe another brand that's a little less like regionally tied. Yeah, you want to be careful about that because people get really passionate about their sports teams.
Yeah, maybe the halftime show is a little bit of a safer bet. You know what I mean? Like, who doesn't love Bad Bunny? Well, thank you for joining us today. And Alyssa, thanks so much for filling in. If you think brands should tease for weeks and weeks or wait until the night of, email us and let us know at mkbw@morningbrew.com, which you can also find in the show notes. And we'll be talking about the Super Bowl next week too. So we'll catch you next week.